evening, everybody. Today is Wednesday, August 9th. I am opening a public hearing, and I'm going to read the notice. It is 5:46. Notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of Canton will hold a public hearing before its regular board meeting on August 9th at 5:45 p.m. at the Town Hall, 60 Main Street, Canton, New York, 13617, for the purpose of considering a local law regulating all anaerobic digester development in the town of Canton, County of St. Lawrence, the state of New York. A copy of the proposed law is available for public inspection in the town clerk's office. It has been, and on the town's website as well. The public is invited to comment during the public hearing or to view or listen to the meeting via Zoom. So with that being said, board, you have a copy of the actual resolution. If we still have to go through the secret process, but having said that, Eric, could you just recap what this is and the public comment?
So obviously, local law designed to govern anaerobic digesters in town. There's been some talk about it, but just so everybody's clear, the kind of the classic definition of an anaerobic digester is it's a process facility which converts livestock and poultry manure and other feedstocks into biogas. It does it by a process microorganisms breaking down biodegradable material into biogas, right? And that gas. The way the local law works is, it starts out with a definitional section. Then it breaks down the digesters into small versus large digesters. The small digesters have the defining characteristics of they're designed primarily for producing power for on-site use, and they use materials that use the feedstock primarily from their own facility, their own farm. Whereas a large digester is primarily seen creating gas for utility grade processes, and they're taking manure from kind of defining characteristics. The way this is structured is the smaller digesters have a less formal process where the permits can be issued by the code enforcement officer as long as the applicant complies with the requirements of the local law, whereas large digesters are patterned more on the solar farm local law, where they need to go for site plan. It needs to be comprehensive engineering reports and details of specifying the decommissioning plan, the decommissioning fund, community benefit use agreements. They're also required to place a deposit with the town for purposes of covering towns, engineering and legal expenses to review plans and ordinance decisions. So, comprehensive. The committee put a lot of work into this, and I think it's a solid start. I think I mentioned last time that the examples of local law governing anaerobic digesters are not quite non-existent, but they're almost non-existent. So I feel like this is groundbreaking. I think we've done a good job of finding some issues. Jim and I just met and did a tour to see what an actual anaerobic digester can look like, smell, or you can see it, all sorts of kind of real world they can look at these things. I think the local law is a good starting place for us to we've taken the position that we want to provide certainty and protection for residents of the town of Canton, but not discourage the development of these what could be very important agricultural tools. I think we've gotten that balance just already. Now we did conduct the initial public hearing, had some conversations about maybe some potential changes, and there were minor changes since last time. We added specific references to the. We added a specific reference so that the ZBA can. Consider variances if it makes sense. I think that's codified in state law, why they did the specific in this, so that you know, the developer would be aware if there were certain criteria that they wanted to work around. Wanted to talk to the CPA about a variance for some minor details. Build that in. There's also a specific reference to renewable natural gas switches. The form of what the large digester produced or upward to say they were bringing services. Other than that. So our attempt, and I think that's one of the first ones you'll see in the state that really has some comprehensive goals and station operating.
I believe, Light went to sell one this month, I think. For enforcement. Might have been the same one.
Yeah, different times. Different time.
Yeah, it was the same one. Yeah. Okay, is there any public comment regarding this local law? If so, if you could go to the podium, identify yourself, where you live, and your comment, we're here to listen. Is there any public comment? Why not? Here.
Then Suye, Town of Canton, Riverside, out of Riverside Back Drive. I don't know a lot about this. I'm here only because I haven't been in a long time. It kind of sounded interesting. I'm concerned though, I guess about these digesters. I don't know them. I mean, you said that a few of you have gone to see them. Is there an odor from them, produced from them? Is this something that's going to be like out in the middle of the field somewhere, way away from people's homes? I live, my back door is the living system. We were told many years ago that, oh, you won't smell a thing, and you do smell things. And I have called the fire department because we got terrible smell the last a couple of years ago and thought that there was something major going on. The fire department came out and checked it all out. So that concerns me. It's right in my backyard. I have liquid manure trucks driving past my house, not all the time, but when they do, it's a week-long process and I can't open my windows. Is this going to be the same situation? Or we're going to be having, we're going to have manure trucks driving past our homes and to the point where you can't enjoy your home in the summertime? I guess those are kind of my concerns. I don't know, like I said, I don't know where they're going to be. I was told that nobody knows yet. I guess that's my thing. I think it's just the odor and destruction of our lives that is going to be there. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. We want to, yes,
Hey, this really isn't gonna be much different than driving by a large scale farm. There's one of these in operation in the Geld area. We're in operation in the Lisbon area. There's one that is going in right now on 310. And so, I mean, they're going in,
A large one of 310 or one of the small ones?
yeah, they're large because we're talking probably 5,000.
And that's in the town of Canton.
No, not, there's not one in the town Canton in operation. And so I said, it's, you know, and I said, I understand what you're saying, you know, when our truck goes by your house, you're gonna smell it. Truck loaded with asphalt going by your house, you're gonna smell it. They are different smells. And it's the smell that goes by your house. And it doesn't linger, you know, but if you drive by a farm, any farm today, even with the open pit systems that they have, if they're circulating or they're moving, you will get it.
It's only going to be animal and food waste, it's not gonna be human waste foods at all. I thought it's something I read about that.
No, it's regulated a lot also by agriculture
And easy as well.
and DEC. Oh, yeah.
And then once this is all digested, blah, 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 what happens to the byproduct from that?
Back to the farm.
Like, out of the fields again type thing, or,
Pardon?
I mean, obviously, you can have, if you have like
It will be,
coming in to digest, you're not gonna have like zero, nothing in these, I mean, it's, how, I don't even know how it works, to be honest, how the digester actually.
Sure.
Terms,
it will go to the digester system, probably in this area, if it's trucked to a large facility. If it's in-house, it just happens right there on the farm, you don't even probably know what's going on. And they'll use it to make gas that they can run a generator with to provide generator power at the farm. If it's a larger one and it's being trucked to it, then it's trucked in. The methane is removed, changed into gas, byproducts taken back to the farm and either put in a pit or spread in the field where it's dumped there. Basically, all they're doing is, like today, if you take manure out of the pit, you take it and spread it on the field. That just evaporates in the air, in the atmosphere. What this is doing is allowing for that methane that's in there being extracted, turned into gas, and it doesn't affect the fertilizer value of the mineral and the organic value. You're just extracting the gas. The methane.
And just add on what you were saying, the reports that we've gotten. Over on the these try to after we get the digestive process is not as potent as a plant. It really does take the ground. The other interesting thing that we learned is that is the newer, more bio crops. I think that is something tested over time. We said we were in the reports. It's kind of a weird thing for
one of the things you also mentioned, you said food in there somewhere.
I heard some.
Yeah, there's food is not part of this.
Okay, so it's just animal, but I thought I heard. I don't know. I thought I heard that thing.
There are smaller farms that have their own system. Yeah, ready. Okay, any other public comment? I did have one question, and I think I sent this to the board and Eric, this application for tax exemption. I don't know how that all works, in regards to development.
Yeah, I think there's some open questions with regard to that. I don't want to get in a position of being the public stance on it right now, because I think there'll probably be some disputes, some differences of opinion on how those are handled.
Okay.
So let's let each batch. There's been some ambiguity with how some of these systems are treated at the state level. Agricultural business. Yeah, just yeah, there'll be time for that.
Okay, all right. All right. Any other public comment regarding this law? Okay, having said that, it is 6 p.m. We dot, and I'm going to close this public hearing. All right. Good.
I was just making a motion to page forward.
Okay, is there a second? Second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Eric, and the committee for all the work on this. This is another big thing. What's happening? So appreciate that. Okay. I am now calling the meeting to order, so welcome everybody, a regular meeting. We do have a few additions. Under old business number 4, 64 Main Street. And then under new business number 9, the secret review, parts 1, 2, and 3 regarding this law. Okay, well, before we get started on our agenda, I would just like to publicly thank a particular person that's going to be retiring after 21 years with the Village of Canton, Dave Reagan. He's been a phenomenal employee for the village. However, he has been the guru of keeping this building going for 21 years. And it's going to be a big loss. But I would like, and I'm sure the board joins me in thanking him for his service. And he knows this building inside and out, and anything that's gone wrong, he can fix it. And he has. Just for example, there was one issue in my office, and we called an outside company to try to come in and fix it. And after 3 times they couldn't, Dave did it within 3 hours. So I just want to go on record on behalf of the town of Canton to thank Dave Reagan for his 21 years of service and keeping this building going. He is the electrician for the village, but he's a jack of all trades. So congratulations to him. All right. First item on the agenda is public comment. This is the time for the board to listen. We ask that if you have public comment, come to the podium. Try to speak directly into that microphone, maybe move it down a little bit so everybody can hear you, especially on the Zoom call. We're here to listen, and we're going to ask that you keep it under 3 minutes, not over, so that it'll give everybody an opportunity to speak. Is there any public comment? So Barbara, is this in reference to the email that you sent earlier? Great. Absolutely, because I was just gonna enter it into the record anyway, so thank you. The board did get a copy of the clerk's letter. Okay.
So I sent an email today
Yes.
to everybody. I'm saying the same thing now. I'm just appropriately entering it into the record.
Thank you.
So I first want to thank the board for, I have read the law, the 2021 solar law that the board put together. And it certainly is proactive and comprehensive, and I think we're seeing other municipalities do not have that. So I want to thank you for what was done with that. And I want to go on record regarding the need, as stated in the law, to hold developers to the utmost accountability regarding all aspects of our community school project. Specifically because of the Chemung fire that we have been reading about. And I now know there have been 3 New York State community solar project fires. To the best of my understanding, Chemung's was the community solar project. It wasn't a mega. Is there any correction on understanding of that?
I thought it was all school. No, Bill's Bill
Buchanan is our solar attorney.
Bill was the fire, were they community solar project?
It's not clear to me whether it was an ORES project in Chemung. I can't answer that question. I believe that it was likely an ORES project based on the descriptions that were published. But I simply don't know the facts on that.
Well, I don't either, and would like to know more. given the fact of the fire period, a lot of questions came to my mind. And I think the public would benefit from having, again, an explanation of the solar law succinctly put in our newspapers. Perhaps with some highlights from it, not to go into great detail, but I think it would assuage fears that people have. And I have emailed you each of that. Specific, so I won't go over specific questions that I listed in that I thought might be helpful if it was in a brief part. If either Mr. Buchan or an appropriate party put forth. I have a special concern with the solar law part 9A. And again, I'm expressing, I know you can't answer questions. I was very interested and thankful to read in that particular part the mention of downwind from residential area protection. And I have a personal interest in that because the Sheasley project is a field away from us. We are south of it. But there are those who are directly east of it. It is right on the property line of neighbors of ours. So as we saw the warnings in Chameau of first stay inside, then uncertainty about toxicity, that has always been a concern. And there are projects here that are aside from Rich Road, that are in positions that with prevailing westerly winds, we would be impacted. So I ask you to read my email and the questions that are in it, if they were addressed briefly in a news article, I think it would be very helpful.
Can you just state your name and address?
Oh, Barbara Lee, 91 Judson Street.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Any other public comment?
Nice to see everybody again.
Oh,
It's nice to see everybody again. I'm not so nervous this time. Leslie Clark, I live on Mead Road in Canton. I appreciate the opportunity to speak briefly this evening. I want to just briefly revisit the physics of the sound of barking dogs. I mean, last time I was here, I spoke about that a little bit. I mentioned the word physics and geography, but I'm not a physics person, so I thought I might do a little bit better than my thoughts on that. There is a physics reason for why my family and my neighbor's family have heard the dogs from No Dogs Left Behind so loudly and clearly, over the months. It's not because we think differently about it. It's because it is physics. I sent this to Ian McKellar and the town planning board. But since we had talked about it here, I thought I would just share this. This was to the board. As you and the planning board are aware, the noise of barking dogs after the No Dogs Left Behind has been very challenging at times, sometimes to the point of it invading my home and that of my neighbors, Ruda. Over the past month or so, though, the barking noise has decreased during the evening and nighttime hours, and that is truly appreciated by our families. That's gotten better. It appears to be when the dogs are outside in the fenced area that the noise is extremely loud and piercing. Even a few dogs cause very loud noise, and sometimes there are 15 to 20 dogs in the fenced area. We might have been able to see that. The noise can become overwhelming. Great. And does greatly inhibit our enjoyment of our properties where we've lived for 35 to 40 years. So to bring science, not emotion, to bear on this serious noise pollution, Ruda Ozels and I asked Dr. Brian Watson to meet with us and offer a physics explanation for this issue. And the following is what he determined and shared with us. He was very generous with his time. My name is Brian Watson. I hold a PhD in physics from Rutgers University, and I taught physics at St. Lawrence for 33 years. On July 27th, 23, I visited the homes of Leslie and Luda, where I was asked to evaluate an issue concerning the barking noise from the nearby neighbors left behind. The problem was that the families of Leslie and Luda are being very disturbed by the noise from the kennel, while their neighbors further down the road and up the road asserted that they could not hear the barking noise. These neighbors could not understand how Les and Luda could possibly be annoyed by the barking noise. How could this be? The Clark and Ozel's homes sit atop a prominent hill, which I'm sure many of you know that. From their properties, the sanctuary is easily visible, is in a direct line of sight. And while the outdoor portion of the kennel appears to be surrounded by a wooden fence of about 6 or 7 feet tall, the fence is not high enough to provide a sound barrier. The neighbors' houses are not on the summit of the hill. The neighbors who can't hear it as well are not on the summit of the hill, but are tucked close behind a curving ridge of land. The houses are not visible from the hilltop, and so the discrepancy is easily explained. The neighbors' houses are in the sound shadow, quote unquote, from the barking noise, while Leslie and Luda are in the direct path of the sound that comes up from the outside fenced area. What could be done to reduce the noise level? A fence of about 6 or 7 feet is not high enough to shield sound waves, which simply diffract around the top edge. A much taller fence made of sound absorbing material, possibly angled inward at the top edge, because that puts it back in, would do much to solve the problem. The details would have to be worked out by a sound engineer. And recall the line from Robert Frost's poem, Mending Wall. Good fences make good neighbors. And Brian has graciously said that he can be reached for questions, email or whatever. So I hope as we go forward with this, and as someone said to me, the noise issue will probably continue because when dogs are outside, it's like they're right here because of the physics. So I think we need to continue to work. I say I'm happy to work with anybody to do what we can to really mitigate that noise from 15 or 20 dogs outside. You can imagine what that's. So again, thank you for your time and continue work on this.
Thank you, Leslie. Is there any other public comment? Margaret Milk, James Road in Canton. I have a petition that we presented to the Canton Planning Board in the meeting on Monday. And this is not an oppositional petition. I presented the petition of over 100 signatures of people who support the concerns that were addressed in the land use document that we sent to the boards. And these people agree that the concerns need to be addressed before a permit is issued. And people who signed the petition are concerned citizens of the town of Canton and of St. Lawrence County. These countywide concerns affect local veterinary clinics, rescues, volunteers, fosters, adopters, emergency personnel, as well as social media representation of Canton in our area. This is part of the democratic process that community members be heard. Over 100 citizens have taken the time to voice their concerns to you, both boards, by signing this petition, among them board members of the Potsdam Humane Society. This process of sharing, contacting others, and attending meetings has given us and other members of the public the opportunity to participate in local affairs in a positive way. So may I present this to you? It's a copy.
In the application that was presented to the planning board, the latest application for No Dogs Left Behind, under site plan application notes, it is stated under community connections, current agreements / contracts with SUNY Canton to provide animals for their facility to use with students, volunteer, and internship opportunities. I have a letter here from Sean Miller, who is the Vice President of Administration, Records Access Officer, dated March 8th, and addressed to Jeffrey. To ensure animals' health and safety, please accept this letter as a 30-day notice to formally terminate the agreement between SUNY Canton Spring 2023 Veterinary Science Technology and No Dogs Left Behind. If you have questions, please feel free to contact Wendy Kieski, DVM Program Director for the Veterinary Science Technology Department at SUNY Canton. And it gives her email and her phone. In Dan Moyer's report on 7/13, investigated a dog bite on Route 68. One of the dogs at Jeffrey Berry's NDLB residence bit a spectrum worker. He was told by public health to quarantine all dogs in the building for 10 days as a precaution. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Linda. So any other public comment? Okay, that being said, we're gonna move forward. Next item, county legislative representative update, and no one is here. We have 3 representatives, but Ben Hall did send the board, in his report, that he promised that he would do each month for 2 months, so the board has that, as well, so, thank you to Ben for doing that. The next item is approval of minutes of the regular meeting of 7/12/23. Is there a motion? Second? Well, second from John. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Carried. Correspondence. I have 2 correspondence. I did have 3, but Barbara, thank you for doing that. And then I didn't have to read it, so thank you. But that has been, the copy has been entered into the record. Okay, the first one is a notice from Excelis, our health insurance providers, indicating that they are recommending for the Medicare supplement plans, C and D, to increase by 15%. And I believe last month, I brought the active ones, that they're recommending 9.7%. This is, so we got that notice. We'll see what happens. And the thing with doing budgeting at this point, trying to budget, is this may change higher or lower. So, and that final thing isn't until November, which we have to pass budget high. So the second one is from the New York State Town Clerks Association. I received a letter from Karen Sweeting. So this is the petition. The New York State Town Clerks Association Secretary, advising us that Town Clerk Heidi Smith has been voted in by her peers as District Director for the New York State Town Clerks Association, District 9. So her term will run until June 30th of 2024. So congratulations, Heidi. Did you get a copy or an original? I'm just gonna give that, to you for the record. So congratulations on that. Okay, town finances report. Hi, Angela. Hi, good evening.
Before you list the July report, please, just looking at the front yellow page, the summary. Looking across 3 lines from the bottom, you can see that all the funds are currently in a surplus position. Going up 4 more lines from that, you can see the over underage of revenue to come in, and I just kind of want to quickly go through fund by fund how we're expecting to fill up those revenue buckets between now and the end of the year. So the very first one, your general fund, most of that will be recognized through state aid, 95,000. The other B fund will come in through sales tax. Your D8 fund, that will be satisfied through the use of fund balance, just as a reminder, as it's the end of the budget season. And then the DB fund is expected to be filled out through sales tax revenue with a varying initiatives as well. In reviewing the spending of all the funds, there isn't really any, you're about 58% of your spending of the year. And then most, if not all of your personnel costs, which is the largest cost too, are running along that trend. So there is no, I would say, on the appropriation side of the third quarter here. And then in terms of your cash balance, those are presented well, and about 20% of that balance is help perspective program. Any questions?
Okay. I would just like to add, we did receive the third quarter sales tax, to the amount of 288,085 and 66 cents. That's our third quarter. Last year at that time, it was 269,207.83. So we're up 18,877.83. And then looking at what we've received so far this year, we are up about $50,000 from what we got last year. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. And then we talked about this, I think, last month, our A account. We might be coming back to it to do transfer.
That is right. Monitoring that cash balance and that just to ensure that it stays healthy enough that any transfer out of that fund would need to be repaid by December.
Yeah, so I feel like we're back in 2018 again. So it's a little scary, but that is our A account and yeah, so. Okay.
I also have the town clerk report, and we did review that report. We did balance that we ran to the town clerk's records. And interestingly, this month, the revenue to the town from the town clerk's report is approximately $138,000, with 203,000. Reason being our permits that were collected through the town clerk, and so that is the reason for this. Increase in that as well. So I'm looking at the town clerk has and then the funds.
How do you do anything to add? So as the board knows, you know, we did create the solar permit, right, and increase the permit amount. So we have deposited a total of 148,000 at this point from the 3 permits. So that's a one-shot deal. So that's a benefit to the taxpayers. Okay. Any other questions? Comments? All right, audit committee.
Ready? General fund A. $38,017.05. Town outside B. $2,753.76. DA townwide highway. $9,492.08. DB highway. $344,909.36. President agency, $25,279.01. Special fire, $8,327.96. special lighting, $277.39. That's
So I need a motion to approve the expenditures. Moved by Bob, I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carry. Okay, department reports. Heidi, would you like to go first, please?
Sure. So we were pretty busy in July, really busy with Meredith Voices, this is Washington here. She's doing great, by the way, she's amazing, she's supposed to be there, she's public, picking up on things very well. I don't really have anything to add to what I've already submitted, but, I did add, 2 quotes to the board meeting packet. I had 3 companies come in and look at the town clerk's office to put up like a more secure area in the office. And only 2 of them came back with quotes, which I put in there for you, to review and consider having like a door or something put in there for us.
Can you list those companies?
Oh,
and the
so-
quotes, please?
Yeah. Northern Glass, this is their 3rd quote, because I asked them to come back in and go over everything with me, and this time they actually provided a drawing. So this is $10,620, and then Fulton Glass was $9,210.
And there was a third company that connected.
Sparks came in and then I didn't ever hear back from them. So, both companies are willing to work with me to do something like after work hours. So, that's an option. Company, so it doesn't interfere with our work day. Possibly just shut the office down for 2 hours one day. Initiative.
So this is to increase the security in the town clerk's office by securing the counter even more, and then putting it to the at the end. It'll make things a little tighter, but it's gonna be something. So we'll have the board think about that. You know, is the quote's good for 45 days or 30?
Well, if it's over 30, I'll have to have Fulton Glass send me a new one.
Okay,
But this one we just got from Northern Glass.
Okay.
That's 13.
okay, so we'll think about that, and there's no language on there. Okay. That might be a good thing.
Okay. I don't see anything. but-
So we were waiting for the quotes, and then Heidi and I need to meet and possibly think about where the money's gonna come from, and we'll bring it back to the board.
Fulton Glass is
Fulton's
30
30
days. Or Fulton is 30 days. I have to get enough.
Okay, okay, well, hopefully we can come to something to that, it's very important.
And then, I mean, I did add that E-code onto the report a little bit. We want to just read for later.
Why don't you talk briefly about that now?
So both Mike and I, so E-code, like, to take all of our local laws and put it into our town code. Mike and I both think this is an amazing idea for the town to go with in this option. It hasn't been done in quite some time. And Mike and I both sat through things with them, both different aspects, like mine was more to go over like the program if the town did decide to go with them. It seems extremely, really user friendly. For us to just get on and see what they're doing with all of our stuff and for communication. And then once they do everything and get us all caught up, it would be, we would submit local laws. You could decide, you could do it every time you pass a local law, do it at the end of the year, a couple times a year, it just depends on what the town wants to do. There's a fee for every time you have them update your code. But if they update something, then we send you the pages that they updated versus sending a whole book, and the amount of code books that we have. It would be nice to just have one code book where they send each page, and then you could do it. You order as many books as you want.
to assign to people. So that's nice. And then there's the online option for the public to get on and view, and then online options, the different back end for like the administrator or something. So, but I think it's something that we really need to do our definitely needed
We tie that into the new website or not?
to have the E-code. Yeah, you can.
Honestly, we'll put a link.
Oh, yeah, we would be able to do that. Yep, the village also uses this. So like if you look down like the village, for example, you can see theirs. So yeah, you can put a link on the new website.
We really need to upgrade. This is our code book. Just one of them.
We were
And-
just discussing, we talked about.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, and it is lower on the agenda, but I think the initial cost to have them do it is about $13,000.
yeah.
$14,000 to do it, and then that's a one-shot deal, and then each year it's about 1,000.
Well, I think it depends too on how many local launches you do them to update for you.
Okay. All right, so this is another thing we need to do, and, but we need to find the money and we'll come back with the recommendation. But I 100% support doing this. And it is the town clerk's responsibility as far as records management to make sure all our local laws are. Yeah, okay. All right, anything else, Heidi?
I don't think, and nothing else, that unless anybody has any questions.
Anybody have any questions of Heidi?
I mean, just upcoming training should be here, so that it won't affect the office, won't be shut down or anything. I just want to be for a couple of days. So,
Great, well, thank you. All right,
Oh, you input or do they input?
they do,
they do all
They
the
do
work.
all the work, just present the loss and they'll input it.
like I would send them everything, yep. And then
And the
they-
books are so much nicer
Oh,
and
they're so
easier
good.
and indexed and, yeah.
if you wanna, the village
I
has
read
one,
the-
if you wanna take a look at the actual
Yeah.
hard copy. It's nice.
All right, great. Let's see. Linda, you want to step up to the podium?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said, don't put me on. The office is constantly.
Can you move up a little closer to the mic? Okay, please.
Is that better?
That's so much
Can
better.
you hear me? People came in from Alaska the other day. They grew up here, but they came with their mother. I bumped into the Larrabees yesterday, no. Family came in. Anyway, there's so many families coming in and donating. For, they'll be not the masters for Kelly Alexander, I have a uniform. His daughter came in and donated that to him. So it's hanging in the properties. Lori Maroney, she came in with a Canton jacket, a shirt from the Russian races from her father, and a trophy. And we're trying to order 3 extra cabinets now of storage because the rooms are overflowing. And we can clean out the boxes that are in there. Then the find was the history, because we're still on 50 boxes. The record, 20 years of vocational agriculture in the state. It's all about the after school. Canton has a prominent place in here when it started and that history. So this is what we're finding. We did 2 different boxes. And what is happening also, this is what my daughter. These are 2 graduation diplomas that were born in 2 days. Well, one on Monday, one on Tuesday, and Jimmy Smith's wife, sister that donated their father's certificate. They're huge, and I don't have my gloves on, but I'm taking them to UPS. Yes, her sister donated her father's graduation certificate years ago.
Uh-oh, I don't know that I knew that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Who brought it in?
and the sister.
Uh-oh.
My
Linda-
sister?
Yeah,
Which one?
no, Linda, your wife's sister. Oh, I got
So,
it.
okay, so it's back home, it must be her.
I have so many people.
There's no saying, my father didn't even
No, I
graduate.
have. I I have so many people come in every day, I can't go to rest, they're all writing in and who's coming. So these are going to UPS to be cleaned up.
Wait, what, from what year are
One's 1919 and one's 1936. I forgot what their father.
Her father's would have been 1936.
Yeah, okay, so this other person. So now people are coming in and doing. And Mary Clark.
Is that the you guys?
There are two Clark families, okay? So her daughter came in yesterday on a box. And we're just beginning to open. And I need to get that spare room cleaned up because we're running out of space.
You gotta be,
I've had it for months, for years. And I have no place to put it.
now you know, Jim.
So now they're getting framed and hanging and this is resource.
And he was a village trustee
Okay,
when this building was built, because his name is on the plaque.
give us his name again. What's his name? You remember? Okay, and there's a bench with a house.
Yeah. Yeah, this was built in 61, 64.
Okay. And the bench on the corner of North Street, that has his name.
Yes, I had put that there and then it deteriorated the village to do.
Yes. So it's constantly, and I'm enjoying it more and more. Rennis is still there. She'll be 91 in November. So we may do another party. You're coming to Bill Ruth's party right next Thursday.
Well, I'm so glad to see you doing that for him. I
Yes.
grew up in Line Street, he was my neighbor,
Oh,
so I've known him a long time.
Congressman Dave Martin, I have this letter, and what he wrote about.
You ever take your name down?
When he would go around the bar, he would go at night around the bars and catch underage kids coming out. So he took the walk home and left them. This is through Dave Martin. He'd leave there, he'd go back out an hour later,
Pick up.
and then he'd bring to the house. Know his history, and he knows about it, and he's very good. So I'm happy. I don't have anything else.
We have to kind of be careful of people donating a lot of more stuff because of the space, right? We still have a bunch of stuff in there and you don't want to overdo it, right? So,
No.
and there's so much history. I mean, if the other side of that place was empty, we would fill that. And,
Yes. But if we get those 3 shelving,
Yeah,
that's the room's gonna be cleaned up. So then I can start getting things out of this.
yeah.
And
Okay.
Rennis, this is what happened to Rennis. She worked 44 years at the abstract funding. They called her back to work 4 hours. I have,
Oh, she's getting like $50 an hour.
she doesn't get money. When she came to me, she said, my husband's died, I'm local, and I want to volunteer and I don't want to.
She's volunteering over there?
She's going to.
No, I know she volunteered for her, but if she's
She's
gonna
gonna
work.
proofread, because the people in her and they don't have stuff.
All right,
So it's kind of.
thank you, Linda.
Okay.
It's a very busy place now,
Yes,
for
it is.
sure.
Thanks, John, for telling me it was gonna be full.
Okay, Cindy. Next.
I just want to say that's my bar.
That's out in Paul Free.
I'm alive.
Start that from the record.
Hi, good
please.
evening. I'm not always the bearer of bad news, so I'm gonna give everybody some good news tonight. This state has issued, the state has said that the star credit checks will be issued this month. So look in your mailbox, you should be getting it. The enhanced star exemption will be at 70,000 this year, and the basic star exemption is about 25,600. Also, the county said that they're gonna be having the foreclosure auction, and that's gonna start September 9th, I believe it's online for that. And the volunteer firefighter and volunteer ambulance worker, we'll be talking about that later in the meeting. And if this is approved, the deadline to get this in would be December 31st. That's it. Does anybody have any questions on my report?
And what might be expiring in 2025? Another exemption?
We have until 2025 to get to implement that exemption, so it. I
But
mean,
what are firefighters getting right now, though?
the one that's in place now
Yeah,
is good until 2025.
okay.
And we have until 2025 to get the new one in
To
place.
put a new one.
Yeah, so it's up to you, whatever the board decides to do.
Okay, all right, yep, that's on the agenda later.
Right.
All right, any questions? Any questions? All right, thank you, Cindy. Back to your bar. Stephen.
Few things from the highway department. We finished up paving finally last Thursday in the rain, but we're done. Kind of explains the high EV numbers that were coming out. We still don't have all.
Wait till next month.
Yeah, all the invoices aren't in. It probably will get worse before it gets better.
How many truckloads did you say it was?
If we would have drawn it all with our trucks, it would have been over 600 truckloads. Figure, we're lucky if we can do a good day of 6 rounds. So,
And how many total miles have you done?
right about 6.2 this year, we finished up at. And like to thank the board for giving us the option on the Cowan Road to go until the money ran out. And we were able to pinch pennies enough that we made it all the way to Route 11 to that, so the road is completely done. So that area now from Route 68, 11, with the highway superintendent roads having done Brewer Road in 21, that area is done. Move on from there.
And I gotta believe that 6.2 would be the most miles that we have done. In quite some time.
There have been years in the
Since I've
past,
been
we've been down in the 2 point something.
Yeah.
Because of everything.
Never more than that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We tried some different things this year. Different strategies and. But how we're going about picking roads, things like that, that's helping. Hopefully it'll take a few years, but hopefully with this strategy, we'll get caught up. And move forward, but doing maintenance.
That's the other thing that was in that, you know, we did the most ever. And we're contracting with the county to do the work. They've got much more sophisticated equipment than what we've ever used. And we're still doing, and we're paying, we got to pay them to do that. So I think we're getting a much better product than we ever put in.
they look good. I did ask Stephen to give me a little tour. A few of them and look really good. And congratulations to you, Stephen, on getting all that CHIPS paperwork done. It's just so fun, but again, he submitted the second request and we should be good for the year to get all that back.
We should have the final, that payment should be in by September 19th, so. All of the CHIPS money will be back for this year. We exhausted all of our reimbursements we can do for this year. That'll be done. Would like to say thank you to the county paving crew. They do an excellent job. They go above and beyond for us and really make us look good. And I can't say enough good about them. We're fortunate to be able to have their services available to us. For sure. Ethan Allison joined the crew Monday the 7th. So he has 3 days in, but he seems to be catching on quick, asking a lot of questions, seems to be eager to learn. So we've been training him, doing some stuff, trying to familiarize him with things. It takes some time. Obviously, it's a lot to learn, but he's quiet, keeps his head down, and tries to do his job well. So we're happy to have him on board. Like to say thank you to the highway crew for coming in to do interviews on that. We had the highway crew, myself, and I had 2 crew members come in and sat down to be part of it. The last 10 minutes of the interview, I asked the highway committee and myself would step out so that the 2 crew members could speak candidly with the candidates and tell them just how it is. Figured that. May as well know up front.
And when we went back in the room, they were still there. They were-
I would like to ask the board to consider petitioning the county and state to extend the 30-mile-an-hour speed zone on State Street Road from the village limits out to State Highway 310. It's a very busy corridor, a lot of foot traffic, pedestrians. Obviously, we have golf course, nursing home, bus garage, peewee fields, the list goes on. Judson Street Road currently from the village limits to State Highway to 310 is 30 miles an hour. I feel that it will be a big safety thing for the town to be able to do this.
Is half the road the village? Do we need to, is it half of that ours and half of the village? Not that piece?
That's
Okay.
The village ends at the high school, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
just
It's town roads from the speed limit out to 310.
so.
So as soon as you go by the school.
Yeah.
Which is 20 mile an hour during school, 30 mile an hour regularly. Boom, it's 55.
So reverse that and you have someone coming into town at 55. At the school dropping to 20 on school days. I would,
Is there a solar thing showing their? When you come in, is there a solar saying this is set by?
yes, there is one.
So what has to be done to petition the city to? do
Make
that?
a motion by this board requesting. The speed, the investigation and speed reduction. That request goes to county highway. County highway sends it on to the state does the investigation, reports back to the county on their findings.
Is there a second? Any further discussion?
I think that's a great idea personally, because all I gotta do is go out there one night on a Peewee night. There's little kids that are coming out between cars and
They're parking on both sides.
parking on both sides of the road.
Yeah.
It's, I think, I've lived here for 30 years. I think that I've always thought that was ridiculous when it was 55 bucks to buy those fields. I think this is, I'm 100% behind this personally.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carry. So I don't know, Stephen, you have to, Stephen, do I send a letter?
I can research it.
Yeah, I think there's a form.
There's a form of
I
some
think
sort.
there's a form that's gotta be, we've got the motion, you include that
We'll look at it
filled out.
together.
and send it to Don Chambers.
All right,
The highway crew, I would like to give a big thank you. The last 3 weeks paving, they put a lot of long hours in, they've been doing 12 to 13 hour days. And they really stepped up and put a lot of time in, so I'd like to give a shout out to the crew also and say thank you. And we've already talked about the chips was the last thing on my report, and as I said, we should be seeing that back by the September 19th at the latest, so that's that. Anyone have any questions? Thank you.
okay, thank you. Mike McQuaid is not able to be here tonight, but he has his report. Megan Richardson said that she had summer programming, she's not able to have her report. Lee's not able to be here, and we do not have a report from her. We do not have a report, so I need a motion to accept the reports that we have received. First, second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carry. Okay. All right, committee reports. Who'd like to start?
I don't want to start. So the sustainability committee met, last Tuesday. And we spent a considerable amount of time actually talking about the compost issue. And in that discussion, we talked about a number of things, one being just altogether stopping it the way it's happening now. The alternative is, and there's still some bugs to be ironed out, but the alternative is to
contact, the fellow which I did this afternoon. Actually this morning. And ask them if they would donate some wheelies to the sustainability committee. For free. And, pardon me, but I don't remember his last name, but Corey, has a farm. And he will actually end up taking the compost from the wheels to his farm. Which kind of solves that whole issue with the village having to go to where it's currently at, picking it up and taking it to where it needs to go. I think that's a pretty viable alternative. I know at the joint meeting, we talked about, charging the sustainability committee way to fix this. And to me, that makes no sense. What they would do is during, at least in summertime, during the Tuesday and Friday. The market, my great stuff. Thank you, the farmers market. You're not. There'd be a location other than where the normal people would gather, because obviously there's gonna be, the smell, frankly. But people could bring their stuff, put it in there, and then he would come get it. And then it would have to be a village, the village would have to be involved, I think. So at this point, it's up to, it's kind of, we're waiting on Casella. And my contact date Casella will get back to you about the next day or two, but I think this makes the most sense. I think it also, frankly, I think it would reduce the cost. Because it would be the small volunteers accepting it instead of what we can do. So I think it makes the sense.
So is the village on board with that? Is this?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay,
I
because
don't
it is
know.
a village and
I understand that. I
Yeah.
understand that. But we have some financial involvement. So, yeah, right.
we paid one
Right.
bill out of
Right,
courtesy.
right, but, because it's kind of joint.
Well, that hasn't been established yet.
Well,
Formally.
sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I think it's important. To what's happening now. So,
Any other committee reports?
Solar didn't meet per se, but being a member of the solar committees. As soon as I heard about the fire in Chanel, I contacted Bill Buchanan. And Bill and I had a conversation about it and agreed that the letter should be directed to EDF, asking questions about it. Bill drafted a letter, sent it to all the board members for their review. The letter that he sent, I believe, Mary Ann, you passed that on to local fire departments for comments and whatever. And Bill did send the letter to EDF with their questions and concerns, along with his, and I believe I saw, did you get a response from them, Bill?
I got a response from Jonathan and from Jack. The most important part of their response is that the fire that occurred in the one that I referenced as an EDF project, they maintain that that's not their project, that it's somebody else's project. It was nevertheless, battery components in that project are the same as those in the Rich Road project. So my comments remain the same. We're concerned, like to hear more from them about the technology that they're proposing. And I've also posted our letter on the ORES website. If anyone in the audience would like to read it, you can go to the ORES website and see it there.
So have a few copies of media. About that.
So just, we are paying attention. Past solar highway, as Stephen mentioned, highway did meet, we met a couple times, we did the interviews for the new hire. And as early as yesterday, we met to look at the bids for the study for the combined facility at Stiles Avenue. And because there's a contract involved in that, we'll want executive session time to talk to the rest of the board about that. So, yeah.
Well, not much happening really, except we have a discussion on, chamber discussion on Monday. It's just chamber discussion based on what we'd like to talk about, the joint meeting. Complete Streets, hasn't met since our last meeting, we'll meet again Monday, so I'll make a move to add in that.
The joint building committee is going to be meeting Monday at 2:00. To continue conversations with demolition of McDonald's, as well as broader conversation about where do we go.
In Heidi's report, she touched upon what we're discussing with the communication with technology. That was all in her report. It's all there.
Got all that, so
It's all there.
Okay, and then even though this isn't a formal committee, John and I did work on cancer prevention zone policy as well. And that is in your packet. We can talk more about that down the agenda. All right, anything else? All right, great. Thanks everybody for all your work. Old business, housing fund. At our last meeting, Bob Stanamore, you were going to reach out to the Jefferson County Consortium piece, and I was wondering if there was any update on that.
So actually, I will report it. So I did reach out to Dank, they're the ones that normally handle dispersion of those kinds of funds. They also reached out to the Jefferson County Planning Office. They can't find any record of this funds, which is good. I mean, my concern was I didn't want to be worried about paying a book for something and have to pay back. So at this point, I don't see any reason to say that it's restricted. Like, I can't see anything from what everybody's telling me. So,
Okay, so having you said that. The Minor Street project is gonna cost us $344,000. We got a grant for that project. It's not gonna cover the entire project. So it was my original suggestion that we use that, let's see, where is it? It's $46,939.46. Transfer that in another account so that we can use it. I don't know how the billing is gonna work. But we need to have some upfront money, and then the rest, once it's done and we get billed, we're gonna take out a fund balance. And then once that's all done, we would put in the entire package into the state. And it does take a long time to get moving back. So I am going to make the motion that we utilize the housing money of $46,939.46 to cover the initial, and all costs that are gonna come up for the Minor Street project. I'm making that motion. Okay. Any further discussion or concerns? All in favor, say aye. Aye. There you go. All right, great. Thank you. Okay, which brings us to the next one, the budget amendment. We'll need to bring that back as a formal resolution to amend the budget to cover that project. Once we finalize the contract and go from there. So I wanted to put it on here so that everybody knows that that's gonna be mowing. All right. All right, the St. Lawrence Health Initiative Sun Policy. So John and I met, and it's in your packet. We were approached by the St. Lawrence Health Initiative to do some type of sun policy. We tweaked it a little bit, And it's in your packet, and basically it is to promote, how to take care of yourself to, prevent cancer, skin cancer. So, is there a motion to pass that policy?
Just to be clear, there's no mandates in here, it's all recommendations.
Steven, did you get a chance to review? No, okay. Sorry, we basically did, we talked about. Yeah. And so this, you know, by passing a policy, this allows us to benefit from some grant funding through the state and stuff. Should they get it? And any products that we want to distribute for us, to us. So is there a motion to pass this policy?
Somebody other than us. That's what I will.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, carried. All right, great. Thanks, Jen, for coming with that. Okay, we added 64 Main Street to the agenda. The bid openings were held and for the demolition of McDonald's. And so there was 3 bids. MJ Contracting for a total of $75,800. AAC contract, excuse me, MJ Contracting out of Waterville. So the base bid was $68,800. The cement floor underneath is $7,000, a total of $75,800. And then AAC Contracting out of Rochester. The total is $91,140. There's a base bid of $65,895. The asbestos $22,695. The demolition $43,200. And then the floor, $25,245, so that total was $91,140. And then Jetta Environmental Services out of Messina, the base bid was $52,880, the floor $11,380, for a total of $64,260. So Tim is going through, you all have copies of the actual bids, right? And there's some language in each one, so he's gonna make sure that we're in alignment. There might be additional costs for air monitoring for the asbestos, but this is going to be on the agenda for the joint building committee on Monday to further discuss. So I just wanted to have that on record that we got that piece done. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Well, I have a comment, and I think Jim may have a comment.
And I thought you all would.
Because we were talking. I got a way of opening my mouth.
Okay, well, here we go.
I honestly think,
Here we,
instead of moving forward with the demolition at this point, we really need to look at everything. We can keep repurposing that building.
remember we had that joint meeting.
So John and I had this discussion. And I'll be the first to say that I was a big pusher from the town side, even when I can remember at one point, I was the only one town board that was in favor of buying it, going forward with that. And I kept saying that we have no parking with this building. We've been stealing parking from McDonald's all the time they were there. And so, but anyway, we got that far. But in all of the discussions that we've had, we're always talking about needing the space for new municipal. Well, we had a joint meeting here last week. I don't think we got anybody on either the town board or the board that's willing to spend $25 million for the municipal. And we talked about, and the village said that they were looking at options. I don't know what the condition is of the building, but I do know it's a brick building. This is a brick building. That building's 10 years newer than this one. This one here, we're in here. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not an architect. I think before we tear it down, if we're going to be looking at all options, then maybe it should be looked at as an option or something other than just truck out of here. If you're gonna spend $60,000 to tear it down, I mean, how much is it gonna cost to just go in and gut the building? You got the walls, you got a roof, and now you're moving forward with a structure that's already up. That we own. that we own. So, I mean, you know, you spend 60, 70,000, might be 70 before we get all done, might be to tear down something that's already there and might be useful. I don't know. Somebody needs to tell me that the building's junk and it's a liability, it needs to go away. I don't know. I've never heard that said, because in the original thinking, it always was that building, in order to facilitate building a new municipal building or whatever, that would likely go away. And after the discussions I've been hearing lately about what it would cost to do this, Jim, keep your mouth. No, I'm gonna say this. Nina Casterly was just talking about how she's running out of space. Would that be a good story? I don't know.
No, it's not big enough.
I don't know. I don't.
And she says, I can't move again. Well, there we go.
But I don't know. Somebody needs this, if somebody,
Like, I wish you guys would have spoke up when we decided that we would go out and get bids and everybody agreed to demo, but that's okay. It's a
but
process.
that
Well,
was,
this is an evolving.
that was all.
It is, it's a process, all right.
It's that, and I was in favor of that.
Yeah.
Until I think the reason we're actually tearing it down, I think if it's gone by the wayside, okay, but have the building committee meeting, I haven't been on the building committee, maybe I should have been paying more attention, but after discussion in the building committee on Monday, the consensus is the building needs to just continue with the tear down and award bid, so be it. But I would still like to know that somebody needs to tell me that building is junk.
One of the things I know, to be in the joint meeting was, we all agreed it was 25 million. Mike Dalton, I think, brought it back and looking at other buildings. I think it was Mike who brought that up.
Okay. Any other comment on that? Yeah, the building committee will come back with some recommendations. Of some sort. You know, our next meeting is scheduled for the end of October. Personally, I wouldn't want to wait that long, to be honest
I
with you.
can't talk to the press like that.
Here we go. All right, new business. So we already talked about the EDF Ridge Road Solar Project battery storage issue. On behalf of the town, Bill did send a letter. We have copies. There was a response, so we're paying close attention to that as well. So that was that one. The next one is the solar project number 9. We have another solar project, next AMP. So we need to pass a resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute 2 escrow agreements with Next Amp Solar for community solar projects located in the town of Canton. These are on 310. So there's 2 separate projects. We've already received the money. It's already been deposited, so this is kind of like a retroactive resolution to pass. We received a total amount of escrow funds of $148,042.78. So you all have a copy of the resolution. Bill, the projects are called Grassy Grove Solar West and Grassy Grove Solar East. Bill, do you have any comments regarding this?
The Next Amp folks were in front of the planning board on Monday night. They have 2 projects. One of them is interconnected and ready to go. The other is awaiting National Grid's approval for its interconnection. So there may only be one project. Time will tell, but they are determined to move ahead if National Grid give them the interconnection. So that would be a total of 10 megawatts, 2 separate projects, and they're moving ahead with the planning board as we speak.
Okay, so I need a motion to pass this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? Number 9. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, Stephen already introduced Ethan Ellison, as the motor equipment operator at this point, to the tune of $26.31 per hour. In the past, motor equipment operators start off and then they get promoted to an HEO, heavy equipment operator, so. Stephen, if and when you're ready to do that, just make sure, just let me know, because we have to farm from plan. And then the pay increases too, so. Can you just, for the record, what's the difference between motor equipment operator and heavy equipment operator?
Motor equipment operator is truck driver, where you're not required to run equipment other than the loader, possibly load your truck with stone, sand materials. Heavy equipment operator is tasked with running all machinery, maybe has to grade a gravel road, install a culvert pipe with backhoe or excavator, things of that nature.
And what type of license do you have to be an HEO?
To be an HEO, you have to have a Class A tractor trailer license.
Would you be an MEO?
MEO Class B or higher,
Okay.
which is Class B is any straight truck with no trailer.
All right, so we welcome Ethan on that. The next time is the volunteer firefighter and ambulance worker tax exemption. I sent the board and Eric, Cindy got, a lot of information from the town of Merrimack or whatever. I don't know how you say it. So, say it again.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay, something neck. Okay, so, what's the general feeling of the board? Is this something that you're interested in moving forward, you two? Is this something you're interested in moving forward?
So we're gonna name.
All right, how about this side? Are you interested in moving forward?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I'd like to know what it gives the firefighters, what.
So, it's a tax exemption.
Yeah.
For their service.
Right.
Right,
And have to work for a couple of years before they can get the.
right. So it's a tax.
You guys gotta decide what percent of the assessment, anywhere from 1 to 10. Percent of their assessment. Would be exempt.
What's the current one?
Okay.
What's the current one?
There is a
There is
one,
none.
but firefighters do get some type of exemption. Individually when they go to do
Right,
the
you
tax.
can't take the credit off your income taxes and get the exemption, it's either or,
And this is, a percentage off their assessment.
of their assessment.
Okay, so all it's in place right now is the income one, which
Right, not based on income, it's.
I was thinking you were saying that there was one in place that goes through 2025 and that we had till 2025 to renew.
Right, not till 2025, because the one that's in place right now, there's only like 3 people, I think, right now in the town that are receiving this exemption. Most of them are taking the credit on their income tax return. So that's why I would like to get this in place and know by December, so I can notify everybody on the list, the volunteer firefighter and ambulance worker.
So you're saying that there are 3 that are taking the assessment exemption right now.
Right, because
So
the
what
bigger
is
the
that?
house, the bigger the assessment, the better their exemption.
But we don't have a law for
I'm
that.
a little confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's the percentage?
But, sorry, what was that?
So right now, firefighters, when they do their income tax, they get some type of
They take
benefit,
it as a
being a
credit.
volunteer, right? So
Yeah.
that's the income tax.
Right,
But this would be something new. That if we pass a local law, that they would get a benefit off of their assessment.
right.
No firefighters, we don't have a law, so no firefighters are getting an assessment.
No, there is an exemption in place right now, and it's the same thing, if they can't take it off their income tax return. They have to take the exemption, and it's like 3 of them in the town that are taking the exemption.
Do we have a local law
It's
to
not-
this effect now?
What's the rate of that? What's the rate for those 3 right now?
And I don't know, it's not much, it's a couple $100 or something.
But is it a percentage between 1 and 10?
Right, you guys gotta decide between 1 and 10.
Okay, so,
I provide a summary of the paper,
yeah,
and we can put it on.
I generally support it.
I generally.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Right
Cindy.
now, the Messina School District is the only one that's approved this right now. It's like Orange County.
All right, we'll let,
Yeah.
we'll
try
have,
to get this in play.
Yeah. so Eric, you'll do some homework for us on that, and we'll go from there. Okay, great.
So in other words, you're saying that town, village, county, and
Yeah.
school would all
Yeah.
have to approve.
Right. I mean, you could approve it.
Correct.
and Not.
Yeah,
school.
they're gonna get the exemption on the town, but they
Right.
won't get it at the county if the county.
Right, right.
Okay, well, thanks, Eric, for doing that for us. All right, the next item is Board of Assessment Review. So Maureen Kanye, her term ends.
I got 5. That'll make 5. Go on the bar.
Okay. Yeah. So Maureen Vanier, her term ends at October 1st. Well, and so
It's
she
9:30.
ends at on September 30th. So she is willing to continue a second term, which we so appreciate. So I need a motion to appoint Maureen Vanier to the Board of Assessment Review effective October 1st of this year, and then 5 years. So it'd be until 9/30, whatever 5 years is gonna be from here. Okay, so I need a motion to that effect. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yes. And yes, now we have a full bar. I mean, Board of Assessment Review. Okay. All right, so thank you to Maureen for her past service and her willingness to stay on. Number 6, we already talked about the E-code program. Again, we'll come back, we'll try to figure out the financial piece to that and make a recommendation to the board. Number 7, town court, as you know, they put in for JCAP funds every year. Pre-COVID, everything was approved for them to take this closet and turn it into a meeting room for attorneys. They have requested that we collect bids so that they can put in the JCAP grant to do that project. So this is for your information. It's been sent out, it's been legally noticed, and the bids are coming to Heidi by September 30th. So that's for informational purposes. Okay, well, it's budget time for 2024, and I want to get the general sense of how the board feels, and then ask Eric the question. Because there was a change last year to rescind the tax cap override law. We don't have to rescind anymore. So we currently have a law from last year. Do we have to pass another law?
Yeah, because it's in the year.
Okay. So I want to get a general feeling from the board that, I'm interested in, passing another local law to override the tax cap. That doesn't necessarily mean we're gonna use it, but it gives us the safety net, to override the tax cap. We do it every year.
That's right, and ever since the tax cap. Ever since it's been in effect, we've always did they've always approved the overriding it, and we've never done it.
We've never used it.
Never used it.
Never used it. So, okay, so the general consensus is to do that. Okay. All right, so now we're at the point to do the secret for the new law. So everybody has a copy of it. Eric, we're just gonna listen to. So there's part 1, 2, and 3, right?
Yeah, part 1, 2, and 3. I think first it should be noted that, there is language, in speaker. One of the particular provisions of the type 2 action requires no speaker analysis. And I think there's language, in the type 2 regulations where this argument could be a type 2, matter because it's, deals with, agricultural practices. But I figured in abundance of caution, I put these together and just do a quick run through the secret analysis. The other thing I think is important to know is that for a local law where there is no proposed action, the secret forms really are designed for this type of because the impact by capacity of the law is negative, right? Where the government's throat is when an actual project comes. That's when the secret analysis is really very important. But again, I figured in abundance of caution, we run through the analysis quick. And just get it done, make a record, consider it, and I don't think there'll be a question on it. And so you all have the secret point part 1, 2, and 3. Randy pointed out that there was an error in the part 1, section C. Postal resource, that's under the government, that's on page 2. There is a local waterfront revitalization program. Let's make that amendment. Mary, I'll send you a corrected page on that. But I just wanted to know it so that as we go through this analysis, we do some on that. Now, this typically the seeker of a major project require a coordinated review. In this case, it would be only involved agency. And as it's a local law, the only parts of the 13 pages that make up part 1 that we have to consider the only parts are A, B, C, and F and G. F and G are really the last 2 sections that require the signature. A and B is just biographical data about the town, exactly what the project is, which is of course the annual digest of local law. And part C is a analysis of what the planning and zoning currently looks like and whether this is consistent with current planning and zoning. I don't think there's any argument this is anyway, this is current zoning or the comprehensive plan is. Run down through the various things. Okay. Then moving on. Then we will move to part 2. The environmental section. And part 2 goes through the various types of impacts that have impact on land, impact on geologic features, impact on subsurface waters or surface waters, impact on groundwater, impact on flooding, impacts on air, impact on plants and animals, impact on agricultural resources. There's impact, I just want to make sure you listen down. Impact on aesthetic resources, impact on historic and archaeological resources, impact on open space and recreation, impact on transportation, impact on energy, impact on noise, odor, and light, impact on human health. Consistency with including plan and consistency with the character. Each of those, part 2 is indicated there will be no impact. Again, you're adopting local law. Any impact I think would be created and analyzed when an actual project is gone through. Part 3 is kind of the culmination, as long as you're agreed with reviewing those are the correct analysis in parts 1 and parts 2. Part 3 is where you would make a determination that there is no adverse impacts on the environment, therefore environmental impact statement be not compared and the negative declaration be issued and authorize Mary Ann as the town supervisor to sign. hard to find. Because the big need, I mean, number of people out there.
On what part are you looking at?
18 part two.
That's it. And again, I'll send it corrected, page 10 or 2. Okay. The only thing you decide, I also prepared the resolution for the board to consider. Incorporating these findings into a formal resolution and included with the secret analysis of the.
Yep, that was in your packet.
I'm gonna take it with it.
Okay, so is there, we don't have to do these separately, it's just all covered under the resolution.
It's all covered under the resolution.
Okay.
It's like a clear.
So is there a motion to pass this resolution? Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Okay. Having said that we did this, the board can choose to vote on passing this law or not tonight, yes? Is the board interested in passing this law tonight? It did not add it to the agenda, but this was, covered.
I've got the public hearing, we've done the seeker. So I would say. I'd make a motion.
Any further discussion, questions? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye, carried. Okay, so you'll just give me those,
Yeah.
just the pages,
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
okay, and then I send that all back, or we just buy it. And then Violet, yeah, and then you send all that to the state.
While the local law it says in states.
Yeah, right, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah, we got, we got.
All right, let me just do this real quick. Okay, the last item on the agenda is public comment. If you'd like to say something to the board, if you could please go to the podium, identify yourself, and leave it up to 3 minutes. We appreciate that. Is there any public comment?
I just wanted to say that No Dogs Left Behind Inc. is still operating without a permit. And today makes 161 days in violation of the town zoning code. Figured from March 1st. I'm just wondering why, in Mike McQuaid's reports, there is no mention of No Dogs Left Behind when he reports that there are other permits that are in violation but haven't been addressed.
Thank you, Margaret. Any other public comment?
Again, town again. I just want to add on to what Steve was asking, the board to consider, and you were going to look into the idea of speed limit being lowered on Safe Street. Obviously, that's something that's should have happened a long time ago. What I wonder though, if it could be added on to it or taken into consideration a different way. When I come from Messina, 310, to come onto that, turn onto that road, or coming out 310 from the village. it's such a dark corner. There's like nothing to tell you that that road is even there. I mean, if you know it's there, you're looking for it. If you don't know it's there, it's like, not even, no markers, nothing at nighttime. I mean, it was wonderful when the roads were being changed around and they had a big old light out there and there, I don't know that it needs a light in that corner, but something marking that there's actually a road there and so that you can actually see it. I don't know if that's something that could add on to what you're talking about with the state. They can look at it at the same time.
Stephen, we'll leave that up to you.
I can
Think
reach out
about-
to the state and ask if there's something that could be done to get that environment there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lynn. Any other public comment? All right, having said that, we do need to go into executive session, for two reasons, discussion regarding current litigation and, where is it here? Matters pertaining to the employment of a particular person. I need a motion to go into executive session. We do meet upstairs. I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carried. All right, thank you, everybody.
And then.
So,